In the middle of the night, a boy named Kazuya is walking near a superstore. Suddenly, people begin to run outside, and the two girls bump into him, causing his phone to drop. When asked what's going on, a man with a knife arrives and tries to kill both of the girls, but Kazuya steps up and takes the man down with him. He asks the girls to run away and save their lives, but suddenly, the man stabs him in the chest, causing him to bleed heavily. Although the man runs away and saves both of them, he still realizes that he made both of them cry. As he closes his eyes, he wakes up in a large room with a large bed. A maid of the house feels happy to see him awake and hugs him, while another woman also hugs him and calls him his mother. He wonders what is going on, but when he sees his face in the mirror, he asks who this boy is and begins to yell out loudly. After a few moments, a maid and a mother check out his fever and find that he is fine, but the mother realizes that he must be hungry, so she asks her maid Sylvia to make a fresh soup for him. As they head outside, Kazuya realizes that he has been turned into a child, which means he didn't survive the accident, but he feels happy that he protected those two girls. Since he got reincarnated and doesn't know anything about this world, he begins to check his surrounding area, starting with the room and his body. Suddenly, Sylvia arrives with soup but sees him checking his undies. She realizes that he must have wet his underwear and decides to change it in front of him, but Kazuya, who still has memories of his past life, feels ashamed and begins to yell out loud, telling her to stop it. After that, it was revealed that Kazuya, who reincarnated into this world, is 3 years old, and his name in this world is Kane von Silford. His father's name is Graham, and his mother's name is Sarah, who is the second wife of Graham. The first wife's name is Maria, who is blessed with 2 boys named Jen and Alec, which means Kane is the third son of the Graham family. Graham is a high-ranking noble who owns his own army, and he is also the one who protects the border of the country from foreign invaders. Later, Sylvia tells him that this world is filled with monsters, adventurers, and magic users, and since he is a fan of all three, he gets excited and wants to use the magic right away, but Sylvia informs him that this will take a while, and that before that, he needs to study first. Kane realizes that since he brought the knowledge of this world with him, he has no problem studying, but gets emotional after recalling that he lived alone in his previous life after his grandpa's death, so he has no body left to grieve for. After some time, his sister Rain informs everyone that Kane can read books and is very good at it. Not wanting to reveal his past life, Kane tells his family that this is due to Sylvia, who is very good at teaching. Graham, surprised at this revelation, should ask his son why he wants to study, since he is just 3 years old. Kane informs him that he is just trying to learn all about this world and wants to step into his shoes. Hearing this, Graham tells him that since he has 2 other sons and can't give his estate to him, this is a good step to making his own success in life and gives him the permission to study anything he wants. However, the study requires the study of magic, and his sister tells him that he needs to be baptized before using any magic and will have to wait until he turns 5 years old. But to his surprise, he begins to use fire magic, but hides it from everyone, including his sister Rain too. Since she is baptized and knows about magic, she begins to teach him about the magic and history of the kingdom, including how its first king started as an adventurer before building the kingdom. She also tells him that not only humans, but elves, dwarfs, and beast folk also lives in this world too, and most importantly, there are fluffy things too, whom he is very fond of. As the time passes, the day of the baptism arrives, and Kane finally turns 5 years old. To get baptized, the family goes to church, a place where gods grant powers to 5-year-old kids. Since this was the first time he went outside the mansion, he got excited to see the beauty of the world and felt happy that he reincarnated in this world. Suddenly, he asked his sister to show him the status of his magic. Rain then shows him his magic abilities, which he loves, but she also finds out that she adores him. Hearing this, his parents tell him that Rain was granted level 2 protection from the gods of magic. When asked what protection is, his mother tells him that it is a very handy thing in this world because it determines how much magic is needed to activate a spell and its effects, and that only God can give it to him. As they reach the church, which is also dedicated to worshiping the 7 pillar gods, a priest greets them and starts the ceremony of baptism. Suddenly, a bright light covers the entire area of the church, and Kane finds himself sitting next to the 7 pillar gods. The gods then introduce themselves, starting with Xenom, who is the god of creation and the creator of this world. Rhyme, the god who governs death and the cycle of rebirth, then informs him that his death was unexpected. He was protecting the 2 girls, but if he hadn't approached the criminal, then the criminal was going to trip and fall and be restrained by passers-by. Hearing this, Kane gets shocked at this revelation and wonders if his death was for nothing. But Rhyme informs him that since he died doing a good deed, the god of the earth requested her to reincarnate him in this world. However, she informs him that his memories are supposed to awaken after he reaches adulthood, but somehow he activates them at the age of 3. Rhyme then apologizes to Kane for his unexpected death, but he tells her that since his memories came back so fast, he was able to learn and use magic, and most importantly, he lives a happy and beautiful life with his parents and sister. Seeing such kindness in his heart, Rosa, the goddess of magic, grants him her power. Sarnos, aka the god of war, Grim, aka the god of technology, Panam, aka the god of commerce, and Bella, aka the god of earth, also give him their protection, and he thanks them from the bottom of his heart. Before leaving, Xenom, aka the god of creation, tells him that when he reaches his world, he will find out what power he has given him. As the light fades out, the priest states that he had never seen a phenomenon like this in his life. When asked what power Kane received from the gods, Kane decides to hide his status instead of showing it to his family and runs away from the church. While checking in a corner, he is surprised to see that he has received the level 10 power of every magic, which is higher than the level 5 magic, which is considered to be the highest rank level in this world. Suddenly, he realizes that if he shows this to anyone, it will cause problems for him and his family, so he decides to hide it by using his creation magic. After returning home, Graham's father asks him to show his magic, but to his shock, the spell he activated to hide his magic didn't work, and everyone in the room finds out that he has the power of all 7 pillar gods. Since the magic abilities he had received were indeed amazing, Graham told him to never show his status to anyone, as this would bring threat to him and to the whole kingdom, to which he happily complied. After that, Kane went to his room and found a summoning magic book lying on the bed. Since he is fond of fluffy things, he wonders if he can summon fluffy animals with this. So, he went outside and summoned a fluffy animal, but instead of a fluffy animal, a giant monster arrived from the magic circle. Out of nowhere, Rain and her friend Parma also arrived there, and she feels horrified after seeing the monster. Since Kane wants to protect both of them, he charges forward with his fire magic, but the monster hits him with a powerful punch. Since he does not want them to die, he activates his magic spell and sends the monster back to his world. As he falls to the ground, he realizes that he is about to die again and has made people cry again. But to his surprise, he wakes up after a few moments and is completely fine. Seeing his sister smile, Kane realizes that he can help people in this world with his magic and will become an adventurer who will protect all the smiles of this kingdom. Since Kane wanted to be an adventurer, his father decided to help him and assigned him 2 adventurers who would teach him about the magic stuff. Excited at his new class, he wonders about his teachers, including muscular ones and witches. Suddenly, he sees his tutors coming to the mansion and decides to greet them. But accidentally, he falls from the roof and lands on top of the adventurer. The adventurer, who is actually a girl, asks Kane if he's looking for her upper body. Then he has to wait for it. Hearing this, Kane apologizes for his rude behavior, saying it was a mistake. The adventurers named Millie and Nina then greet Kane's father, and he signs a 3-year contract with them, saying they will look after Kane and help him become a good adventurer. At their first training session, Millie asks Kane to show him his swordsmanship, but gets surprised after seeing his brute strength. Nina playfully teases her, saying that despite being 5 years old, he is a lot stronger than her. Thinking this was an insult, she challenges Kane to a mock battle but ends up losing it as Kane totally dismantles her in the battle. Nina will then ask, since he is good at swordsmanship, if she will teach him about magic, as she has the level 3 blessing of the god of magic. As she begins to teach the basic steps, Kane tells her that he already knows them and has practiced them by using the magic book. He also shows her what he can do, including making a water ball and a fire ball, and shooting a powerful rock bullet that pierces through the wall of the mansion. Surprised at his 3 spells, Nina asks if he has the blessings of the god of magic, to which he confirms he has the blessings of both the god of swordsmanship and magic. As they were thinking they have nothing to teach him, since he's already more powerful than both of them, Kane accidentally shows them his other blessing, which is the power of God's magic box. Shocked at another blessing, Nina says they have nothing to teach him and asks to leave the mansion, but Kane tells them to teach him magic lessons outside the mansion, since he never went outside, except for his baptism. They both agree to his request, but first they wanted to convince his father. They tell his father that despite being 5 years old, his swordsmanship and magic are both beyond beginner level, and if they teach him the intermediate level magic in this mansion, the mansion will be torn apart into pieces. Realizing that he had expected this to happen since seeing his son's magic status, he allows them to teach Kane intermediate level magic outside the mansion, but with a stipulation that he not go above his limits and must return before sunset. As they head outside, Nina asks him to try his magic on a rock, but Kane accidentally destroys the whole area with a magic fire well. Since he used so much power in the fire spell, they wonder if he's tried, but to their surprise, he tells them that he is perfectly fine. Suddenly, they hear something approaching, and out of nowhere, a killer rabbit tries to attack them, but Kane kills it with his air bullet spell. He then put the killer rabbit in his magic box, and upon seeing it, Millie says that she will buy a magic bag when she has enough money. As they begin hunting for more monsters, Nina casts a search spell and finds the locations of nearby monsters. Amazed at her spell, Kane asked her to teach him, and when she did, he cast a spell so powerful that it not only revealed the location of nearby monsters, but also their identities, revealing that there were 4 killer rabbits in the 300-meter range. After taking down the 3 killer rabbits, the last one runs away into the forest, and Nina stops Kane from following it, saying that the forest is very dangerous and consists of dangerous monsters who every year attack the outer wall of the city. At home, he sees that his level has also increased, and if anyone finds out about this, he will be locked under state control. Since he wanted to be an adventurer and have fun in his life, he asked the gods to have mercy on him, but they lashed out at his request. The next day, as they headed outside the mansion, they took him to a guild to get information about the monsters. Since both Nina and Millie were adventurers, a D-rank adventurer mocks them for their low status and asks Nina to have a drink with him, but Nina refuses, saying they have duties to attend. Angry at this, the man then grabs Nina while his pals grab Millie. Seeing his masters in a dire state, Kane asks the adventurers to leave his masters, as he is already late for his class. Thinking him an ordinary kid, the man then attacks him, but Kane easily dodges every attack, even capturing his sword attack with his 2 fingers. After that, he beats them up and throws them out of the guild, saying that no one can hurt his masters. After that, they thank Kane for saving their lives, and they head to their adventurers. As time passed, Kane became more powerful and began to handle his magic well. After 3 years passed, Sylvia asked Kane what he would do now, since his teachers refused to extend their contract period. Kane tells her that he does not want to rely on adventurers forever, but will do anything to repay them for their generosity. Thinking about their first encounter, Kane realizes that Millie has always wanted to have a magic bag, so he will do it for both of them. He then went outside and started collecting the magic items, including the blood ogre and earth dragon. Seeing the powerful explosions in the forest, the city guards realize that they are under attack by monsters and head towards the forest to protect their city. Upon reaching the forest, they see nothing but a giant hole and realize that someone must have killed the monsters. To his shock, Graham sees a handkerchief with the logo of his family and realizes that Kane was the one who killed the blood ogre and earth dragon. The next day, after killing 15 killer wolves, Millie says that despite being 8 years old, he is still more powerful than us, but we are glad to be their masters. After completing his 3 years of training, he thanks Millie and Nina for their hard work and gives them a magic bag that he made himself. Since the red bag is made from a blood ogre and the green bag is made from an earth dragon, they wonder how he can take down such monsters since killing them requires an A-rank adventurer party. Kane assures them that the material is a little rough, but that the inside is just a normal magic bag, but they get shocked after hearing that they can fit a whole mansion in it. Millie tells him that the magic bag she was going to buy is as big as the back of a carriage, and this is a national treasure. Thinking that he overdid it, he asks his masters to accept his present, but Nina tells him that if they carry these bags around, they will be hunted down by others. To their shock, Kane tells them that he has put a spell on the magic bag, and if anyone, despite them, tries to pick it up, the weight of the things inside will be doubled. Since they are just crabby adventurers and not worthy of such expensive gifts, they ask if he is okay with it. To their surprise, Kane tells them that they have taught him so many things, including the taste of lunch under the sky, the importance of friends, and the joy of the adventure. To his surprise, they both kissed him and told him that whenever he needed their help, they would surely come for him. Before leaving, Kane thanks them again for their hard work and for teaching him about magic.
A huge red dragon attacked Kane in the cave and tries to kill him, but Kane managed to kill him with a single strike from his sword. While trying to check if he's dead or not, Kane realizes that the red dragon was pretty strong and there's no way he could have defeated it with a single strike, so he decided to check his magic status. To his shock, he sees that his magic level has increased rapidly and is over the 80 million points, which means he is now the enemy of all monsters and killer dragons. 2 years later, Kane is now 10 years old and is headed towards the royal capital to make his debut. Every year in royal capital, they held an event where noble sons who turn 10 compete with each other. Rain is glad that she will be able to live with Kane at the royal capital and even go to school with him together. But Garm informs her that as per law of this country, the minimum age for a child to attend a school is 12 years, and since Kane is just 10 years old, he has to wait for at least 2 years. Hearing this, Kane asks his father how long will it take to reach the royal capital. Garm tells him that they will reach within a week if monsters won't get in their way. Thinking about the monsters, Kane realizes that he must stay alert for any attacks to help his family and the guards. He activates his magic search spell and finds a big battle going on 3 kilometers ahead, where few dozen of monsters are attacking 10 people. Hearing this, Garm ordered his men to speed up and help the men in need, but Kane realizes that their speed is slow and they won't be able to make it in time. So Kane decided to help them out and went ahead using his wind magic spell boost. On the other side, a group of wild ogre already killed some of the king's men and were going after the remaining one whom were protecting a carriage. Before then can finish them off, Kane arrives and kills few of them with his air cutter and air blast spell. As for the others, who were headed to kill the remaining knights, Kane realizes that they are close to the knight, and if he used any magic spell, it will hurt the knights too. So he decided to use his sword and kills the attacking ones with it, including their leader with a fire magic spell. The hurt knights ask Kane to stay away from their carriage as they don't know if he is their ally or foe, but Kane formally introduces himself, stating that he is the third son of Margrave Garm von Silford, Kane von Silford. Still not believing on his words, the knights ask to show his nobility proof. But before he can say anything, the knights of the Von Silford family arrives and confirms their young master's identity. Hearing this, the leader of the knights took a sigh and falls to the ground. Seeing them in dire state, Kane decided to use his healing abilities and cast a spell called Area Healing, healing all the injuries of the knights in an instant. When asked to heal the others, Kane told them that his magic abilities are not on par to bring back the dead ones and decided to put the bodies of the men who were killed in a battle with ogres in his magic box. His father also arrived at the scene but realizes that his younger son has already taken care of the situation. Suddenly, the carriage which knights were protecting it opened up and reveals the two young girls, Telestia the daughter of the king and Silk the daughter of the duke. Despite being saved from the giant ogres, they still feel hesitant about their life. Kane decided to use his magic spell to calm their mind, and when he used it, both of the princess feel lighter in their heart and thanked him for saving their lives. Both of the princess praised his magic abilities and sword fighting skills, but then decided to fight each other, as each one wanted Kane for herself. When Silk inquired about where he is headed to, Kane tells him that he is heading with his family to the royal capital to attend the royal event. To his shock, both of the princess decided to travel with him, and then put him in their carriage. Kane asked for his father's help, but the noble was shocked at the situation and doesn't know what to do. On their way to the royal capital, both of the princess sit close to him despite the carriage was so large. When Kane asked that he wanted some space, both of the princess told them that they are still scared of the monsters who might attack them once again, and since Kane is the strongest one here, they feel better with him beside them. They also told him to call them by their real names, not with the king's or duke's name, but Kane was embarrassed at the situation and decided not to call them by their real names, but due to their persistence, he goes along with it. As they arrive at the town of Renoma, Kane decided to leave the carriage and tells them that he will see them in the morning, but to his shock, both of the princess wanted to spend the night with him. Despite his father Garm's objection that they are still 10 years and can't sleep with each other, both of the princess shuts him up, stating that Kane is the strongest warrior in the whole Magic Knights, and they can't take any risk about their safety. Despite being embarrassed at this situation again, Kane decided to help them out, but with a condition that the room must be very long. As the maid set up 3 beds in the room, both of the princess decided to stick close to him and move their bed closer to him. Shocked at this, Kane asked them to put back the beds where they were, but both of the princess ignores his request and slept close to him. After that, Kane was not able to sleep in this condition and spent the next several days without any sleep. After arriving at the royal capital and the royal palace, a man approaches them and asks them about holding hands of the young boy. Kane tells him that they were scared of the monsters and he let them hold his hands. The man then formally introduces himself as the vice-captain of the Royal Chivalric Order, Diam von Gazard. He thanked Kane for saving both of the princess and the knights of the royal capital, and also bringing back the fallen comrades home. Kane then hands over the bodies of the fallen ones to the Diam and asked him to return them to their families with honors, stating that these knights fought bravely against 50 orcs and ogres to protect the lives to 2 young ladies. Realizing his sentiment, Diam assures him that their deaths won't be in vain, as he will tell all the knights and his families about their heroic tale. Before he can leave, Diam stopped him and told him that the Almighty King wanted to see him. As he appeared before the king told everyone at the room that Kane saved Princess Telestia and Miss Silk from the group of over 50 orcs and ogres. Not only this, he also single-handedly eliminated them with his sword and used his healing magic abelites to save the lives of the wounded knights. King then decided to reward him and gave him 10 platinum coin, a mansion of his own choice, and the title of a baron. Shocked at this revelation, one of the men decided to oppose these rewards, stating that he's just a child, but the king shuts him up, saying that they have not the abilities to kill 50 orcs like Kane did, and he does not want to waste such a talented young man in a powerless position. Despite having no choice, Kane decided to accept this award. Before leaving, King asked Kane to meet him alone as he had something to discuss. Kane, along with his father, then meet King and the father of the Silk. King, along with the father of Silk, Eric, thanked him for saving the lives of their daughters, but asked them to raise their heads up as he just helped the people in need. Since he excelled in both magic and sword, and has the protections of the gods, the king and Sir Eric decided to engage their daughters with him, and they won't be formally married until they reach adulthood. Shocked at the engagement word, Kane asked about this sudden turn of event, but both the king and Sir Eric told him that they heard from their knights that Kane linked arms with them in the carriage and even slept with them despite being unmarried. Shocked at this situation, Kane sought his father's help but he refused it, and Kane ended up accepting their proposal. Like and comment if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for more anime recaps, and tell me what anime recap you'd like to see next in the comments below.